Welcome back to the Good World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now it is happening. Bitcoin has officially just confirmed the breakout from this new bullish price pattern, setting up a new price target, which I'll talk about in just a moment alongside the next trading opportunity. But while this is happening for Bitcoin, we're seeing the US stock market forming and starting to confirm a new bearish divergence in the short term, which is also starting to help form a bearish divergence for Bitcoin in the immediate short term, which I'll also talk about in just a moment, while Ethereum is now officially confirming a breakout above this new triangle pattern right here, above this resistance, setting up a new price target, while the price of Solana is now retesting this important area of resistance, getting close to a possible breakout here. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, just before taking a look at the Bitcoin and crypto charts today, taking a quick look at the US stock market. This is the S&P 500 index on the 1 hour time frame, and I'm recording this right before the stock market's set to open, but we could see that over the last 1 to 2 days, we've now started to form a new bearish divergence here on the 1 hour time frame, and actually start to confirm the bearish divergence and play it out here in the shorter term. And so just keep this in mind. This is a possible short-term warning signal. Obviously, it's only on the 1 hour time frame, so it's likely already played out at this point, or maybe another 1 or 2 days of this playing out. But overall, just consider this as a possible warning signal in the shorter term for Bitcoin and crypto, because Bitcoin and crypto are also very correlated to what the stock market is doing. But of course, if we ultimately continue the bullish trend later on, maybe very soon again in the stock market, and push towards all-time highs, then that will likely help assist Bitcoin and other altcoins with their respective breakouts. And so that's what's happening right now in the short term for the stock market. And if we're taking a quick look at some Bitcoin news today, we finally have a massive inflow day for the spot Bitcoin ETFs. So of course, this is a lot of buying pressure, helping to buy up Bitcoin, and of course, helping Bitcoin break out towards the upside. And so as we can see here, so far this week, we've been seeing net inflows into the spot Bitcoin ETFs, which is very different from last week. We saw a lot of outflows last week, but this time around on Monday, we saw a net inflow of over 116 million US dollars. And then on Tuesday, just yesterday, we saw a net inflow of over 753 million US dollars. So $750 million coming into the Bitcoin ETFs just on Tuesday. And so this, of course, means that Fidelity, BlackRock, etc. are now back to buying Bitcoin, thanks to, of course, investors buying these ETF shares, basically putting money into the Bitcoin ETFs, which once again helps with buying pressure and demand and helps with pushing prices higher. And so with that being said, taking a look at the Bitcoin charts today on the weekly time frame, nothing's really changed over the last 1 day. This super trend indicator still sitting in the red, and technically we still have this massive bearish divergence, but we are now starting to move closer towards invalidating the larger bearish divergence, especially as this shorter term bullish divergence is still active. It is still playing out. So like I've been saying every day over the last couple of weeks now on the channel, we're most likely going to see either a continued bullish relief like this, or maybe just some choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes, the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence. And obviously, once again, this is still currently actively playing out, which means continue to expect the same sort of price action we've seen over the last couple of weeks moving forward, at least over the coming days or possibly another few weeks. And while this is happening in the short term, of course, over the last couple of weeks, we've been within this previous sideways price range. In fact, over the last couple of months, we've been in this previous sideways price range between this support and this resistance. First of all, this support still sitting at around 85 to 86,000, and the resistance was at around 92 to 94,000. But as of recording this video, for the first time in months, we've now actually finally confirmed a daily candle close above this massive area of resistance here, above 94,000. In fact, the latest daily candle close confirmed even slightly above 95,000. And so technically speaking, this is now finally one confirmation signal actually starting to confirm a breakout, finally leaving the sideways price range and heading in the bullish direction, which is definitely something to pay attention to right now, especially as we hold this area as support. That is very important for the price. We now need to hold above this area because, of course, if we confirm candle closes back below 92 to 94,000, in that situation, that would be an invalidation signal. That would invalidate the breakout. And so basically, if we break back below around 92 to 94,000, expect the price to enter into this range and likely head towards the lower end of the range at 85 to 86,000. But for now, obviously, we're still holding above 92 to 94,000. So for now, this is currently an active breakout. And the next retracement level or next point of resistance to watch out for the price of Bitcoin here on the daily time frame is this level right here, based on this previous 50% retracement level, which was significant support many times all the way back here during 2025, and right now could be acting as resistance, and that's sitting at pretty much exactly 100,000. So basically 100k is the next major target, the next major point of resistance to watch out for, and if we break out above 100,000 in that situation, the next target would be at around 106,000. But that's solely based on these retracement levels and Fibonacci levels. If we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin price chart, zoomed in a little bit, but still on the daily time frame, we can see, of course, an inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is now officially confirmed. I talked about this in my last video right before this breakout. I said, get ready. We are forming a bullish price pattern, which in my last video, I said it's not yet confirmed. We need to wait for a confirmed breakout above around 94,000. But now, over the last one day, that has indeed happened. Once again, we've just now confirmed a daily candle close above 94 and in fact above 95,000. And so for as long as we're now holding above that 94k level, that's very important. Once again, we cannot confirm a breakback below that level, because if we do that, that would invalidate the breakout, invalidate the pattern, and invalidate the price target. So for as long as we're holding above 94k, obviously we now have an active inverse head and shoulders pattern, which is now in play with an active price target towards the upside at roughly around $103,000 per Bitcoin. So from the current price as of recording this video to that price target, that's about an 8 to 9% move towards the upside, and that's with no leverage. So obviously a potential trading opportunity, which is just now beginning. And now, as always, understand risk management. For example, we need to know the point of invalidation, which is what I just explained. If we break below 94,000, that would invalidate the trading opportunity, invalidate the price target. So for example, not financial advice, but let's just say if I'm taking this trade, which I am, which I'll talk about in just a moment, if I'm taking this trade, I'll have a stop loss potentially below this entry point right here. So keep that in mind. And of course, take profits along the way towards the upside, which I'll also talk about. But basically, a long point of resistance, or just before key points of resistance, that especially just before this price target right here, I'd have take profits around there. So keep that in mind. That's a basic trading strategy that I've myself used many times over many years in crypto. But as always, not financial advice. I'm just letting you know what I've been doing myself and giving you examples of potential trading opportunities, not financial advice, but this is actually happening right now. We have already confirmed the breakout for this inverse head and shoulders pattern, activating the bullish price target. But before that 103k level, once again, I would expect some resistance at around 100,000. But if we're zooming into the immediate short term, looking at the 6-hour Bitcoin price chart, we have a possible bearish divergence with actually one very small confirmation signal here, but this could easily be invalidated very, very soon. But basically, if the US stock market, when it opens back up again, if we continue to show a little bit of weakness in the shorter term, playing out this short-term bearish divergence, it's possible that Bitcoin could slow down a little bit and start to play out some sort of bearish divergence with higher highs in the price and lower highs in the RSI. And now this area will likely act as support at give or take 94,000. So it's possible that maybe in the coming hours, maybe over the next one day, we start to slow down a little bit, consolidate above this area, and that will actually be bullish. If we consolidate above the area, hold above the area for as long as we're holding this as support, that's good news for Bitcoin because the breakout is still active. And then if, for example, we see a little bit more of a retest like this and come into this area at around 93 to 94k, for example, and actually still hold that as support, that could potentially, not financial advice, but that could make for an entry point or to add to an existing long position in the example of if we're trading this move towards the upside, towards these higher price targets. And so personally, in my situation, I have just opened a small Bitcoin long position, considering we have technically confirmed the breakout with one confirmation signal above a key point of resistance. So once again, I've just opened a small long position. As always, not financial advice, just sharing what I'm currently doing. And if we see a little bit more of a retest like this, maybe in the next 1 or 2 days, I'm not saying that will happen. I'm saying if that happens, I'll potentially add to this this long position. But remember, as I said earlier, if we start to confirm a break back below this key area of previous resistance, which will likely now act as new support, if we confirm a break or confirm candle closes back below that level, like I said earlier, that would invalidate the breakout opportunity, invalidate the trade. Therefore, I would potentially just take a small loss and close the trade to avoid further losses if we actually break back below around 93, 94K, for example. And then once again, if we continue the bullish move towards the upside, I'm already in some of the trade here. Ideally, I'd like to enter more if we actually see a bit more of a retest here. But if we continue further towards the upside, either way, of course, that's good news for a long position. And then take profits would be along points of resistance just before the points of resistance here that I mentioned earlier, and also just before that bullish price target, but not necessarily closing the entire trade at any one level, just closing a portion of the trade at each of these levels to reduce the size of the trade as it goes towards the upside if that continues to happen. And so of course, if you want to get set up ready to go to take these trading opportunities that I'm currently doing myself, I'll leave a link to this exchange that I'm trading on right now, which is the BTNX exchange. In fact, it'll be the third link below this video, but if you check out the first link below this video, that link will take you to this sign up page over on the 2bit crypto exchange, where you can also take advantage of some major bonuses here that are available using that link below the video to 2bit, over 18,000 USDT in bonuses. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, definitely check this out. Take advantage of this. Once again, first link below the video to 2bit, third link below the video to BTNX. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But if you want another option out there, another exchange that I also use as well from time to time, then check out the second link below the video in the description and in the pinned comment, because the second link below the video will take you to this page right here over on the Pinex crypto exchange, where you can also take advantage of some major bonuses here. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check it out. Take advantage of this, because if you're making your account using the link below the video to Pinex, complete KYC, you get a 50 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. And on top of that, there's deposit bonuses here. If you deposit as little as 100 USDT, you get a 100 USDT bonus on your account. If you deposit 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT bonus onto your Pinex account. So basically a bunch of free money from the exchange, which you can claim using that link below the video to Pinex. So once again, if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check it out using those links to those exchanges to claim these bonuses. But if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, obviously just recently over the last 12 to 24 hours, we've seen a small little short squeeze because we just started to build a very small amount of liquidity right before the pump, a matter of hours ago, sitting at around 95K, and now that's already been wiped out. And obviously we still have that level of liquidity towards the downside at just above 89,000, but like I already explained over the last couple of days, if we start to break out above this key point of resistance here, I'd not necessarily bet too heavily on that lower level of liquidity actually being hit. Once again, usually the price moves towards where we have a lot of liquidity, but not 100% of the time. It doesn't guarantee anything. There's no such thing as a 100% guarantee. So we have to consider all of this information to figure out what is most likely going to happen for Bitcoin. And obviously with the stock market, if this pushes towards all-time highs, while obviously Bitcoin is breaking out above a crucial area of resistance, a very important area of resistance, activating a new price target towards the upside from a bullish price pattern, considering all of that information, it's simply more likely right now that we're heading more in the bullish direction, which is already starting to happen, as we can see, for as long as we actually hold this previous resistance now as support that is crucial for Bitcoin. And with that being said, if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the daily time frame, right now on the day, the current daily candle, it's having a slight little drop, which means some altcoins are slightly outperforming Bitcoin, but overall, in terms of the trend or the price structure that we're currently in for the Bitcoin dominance here on the daily time frame, it's looking very neutral. We're basically just bouncing around somewhat sideways here, which means a lot of the major altcoins out there are performing very similar to whatever Bitcoin is doing, not necessarily having a massive altcoin season or massively underperforming, but quite similar price action. So continue to expect that moving forward. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, obviously following Bitcoin having that bullish breakout, like I always say, expect something similar for Ethereum and a lot of these altcoins. That's exactly what we're seeing. We're seeing obviously a bullish move following Bitcoin's bullish move. And this is also playing out a perfect bounce from this exact level of support here, sitting at around $3,050, but really in between around 3,000 to 3.1K is a crucial area of support to pay attention to. And obviously over the last 1 week has now perfectly been held as support, obviously. And as for resistance, we could now be running into a point of resistance here at around 3.3k to almost 3.4k, but really the next significant level of resistance to watch out for is at just above 3.6k, so really in between 3.6k to 3.7k, acting as strong resistance. And if we're taking a look at this daily Ethereum price chart, right now the price of Ether over the last one day has just now officially confirmed a daily candle close above this descending line of resistance, which was sitting at just underneath 3.3k, and this latest daily candle close confirmed at just above 3.3k. And so technically speaking, this is now one confirmation signal actually starting to confirm this bullish breakout towards the upside from this symmetrical triangle pattern, also known as a horizontal triangle pattern, which is now activating a bullish price target for this price pattern. And that price target is sitting at pretty much exactly 4.2k, $4,200 per Ethereum as the technical price target right now. And in case you're wondering, from the current price at close to this point of the breakout here to that price target, that's potentially around a 26% move towards the upside, and that's with no leverage. So obviously a potential massive opportunity here on the table, which is just now beginning. And so especially if we start to see some sort of retest and actually hold above ideally 3.3k, but at the very least hold above around 3260 above this line right here. In that situation, if we actually hold that and see a bit of a retest, personally I might look to open a bit of a long position for Ethereum considering this massive bullish price target. But as always, we have to consider resistance along the way. It's unlikely that even if we've broken out here, it's unlikely we'll just go straight to that price target in a straight line. That's very, very unlikely. What's much more likely is we'll find resistance along the way. Like for example, right now we're potentially running into a bit of resistance here, and then if we continue the breakout further, expect resistance, like I said earlier, in between 3.6k to 3.7k. And as always, if we see a confirmed break back below the point of the breakout, so for example a daily candle close or multiple daily candle closes confirming back below roughly 3260, below this level right here, then in that situation that would invalidate the breakout, invalidate this price pattern, and invalidate the price target. So keep that in mind. And if we're zooming further into the short term, looking at the 3-hour time frame, it is worth pointing out that obviously in the small time frames here, the RSI is reaching well into overbought, which means we've gone too far to the upside too quickly, at least in the short term, which means maybe in the coming hours, maybe over the next day. Obviously this is not a long-term signal, it's a very short-term signal, but just in the short term for the next few hours, it's likely we're going to slow down a little bit, maybe play out a sideways consolidation, maybe a slight little pullback, not necessarily a crash all the way back down, but just slowing down a little bit, losing a little bit of that bullish momentum just for a few hours, maybe a day or two, to reset the RSI out of overbought. So keep that in mind. That's what's happening right now in the immediate short term. But for as long as we're holding above this line, as I said earlier, the breakout and the price target is technically still active. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame right now, as of recording this video, the price of Solana is running into this area of resistance again, which is still sitting in between 143 to 147. So as I've been saying for a very long time now on the channel, expect a lot of struggle, a lot of resistance, and possible rejections from this area on the price chart. So once again, right now we are perfectly starting to struggle a little bit in that area, which is to be expected. But if we confirm a breakout, so if we confirm ideally a daily candle close above 147 and actually hold above that area, in that situation, of course, that'll be a very bullish signal following Bitcoin and other cryptos with their breakouts. And in that situation for Solana, the next target or next area of resistance to watch out for would be sitting in between roughly $166 to $170. But once again, I want to make it clear, we've not yet actually confirmed the breakout for Solana. We're still testing this area of resistance, which means potentially still expect struggle in this area. And as for support, if we actually see another rejection, expect a lot of support at around $134, give or take. And also we have a lot of support down here at around 125. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, not a lot has changed over the last one day. Technically, this bearish divergence has not yet been invalidated on the weekly time frame, but obviously we're still playing out the major bounce from this significant level of support here at around $1.80. But if we're zooming into the daily time frame, what we can see right now in the short term is, first of all, over the last 1 week or so, we saw a rejection from this area of resistance in between around $2.30 to $2.40, and then we came back down towards this exact Fibonacci level, acting as key support in the short term at around $2.05. And we could see that's pretty much exactly where the price bounced from, at around $2.05. But as I've been saying over the last few days, really in between $2 to $2.05 is the area of support to watch out for. And once again, that's precisely where the price bounced from. And right now, obviously, we're continuing a little bit of a short-term bounce, not necessarily a massive amount of bullish momentum, but simply following Bitcoin and other altcoins with those short-term bullish moves. And so honestly, right now, XRP is still technically lacking that bullish momentum. We're still looking somewhat weak in the shorter term, which means over the next couple of days, it's quite likely we could remain somewhat range bound between that point of support that I just mentioned earlier and that area of resistance that I just mentioned earlier. And so basically expect a little bit of choppy sideways price action in the shorter term, but obviously pay attention to what Bitcoin and other major altcoins are doing. If, for example, in the next 1 or 2 days, Bitcoin plays out this short-term bearish divergence, maybe sees a bit more of a retest of this previous area of resistance here, but then ideally, if we actually hold that as support and see a bit of a bounce from that within the next few days, in that situation, expect something similar for XRP, which means maybe a slight little setback, some choppy sideways price action. But then if Bitcoin continues to bullish breakout over the coming days or weeks, that could also help XRP with some more bullish price action when that's happening for Bitcoin within the next few days or weeks or so. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, obviously Chainlink is also following the rest of the crypto market with that short-term bullish move. As always, expect Chainlink and a lot of these altcoins to move very close to each other in basically very high correlation. And so now that this has happened in the short term, we've now finally broken out back above this short-term point of resistance, which was resistance for almost a week here, and that was sitting at around $13.30 to $13.50. So now that we're back above that level, expect support at that level, and also expect support at around $12.80 to almost $12.90 based on the latest lows right here. And as for resistance, we're now running into resistance as of recording this video at around $14.10, so just above $14, and above that I'd also expect more resistance at around $14.70 to $15. And considering that this bullish divergence is still currently active on the daily Chainlink price chart, at least for now in the coming days or possibly the next 1 or 2 weeks, continue to expect basically the same price action that we've been seeing over the last couple of weeks, which means most likely a bit more of a bullish relief like this, not necessarily a straight line up, but a bit more of a bullish relief, maybe a bit of choppy sideways price action here and there as the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence, which is likely still going to be the case moving forward here in the somewhat short term. And once again, this is the time to be set up ready to go on a crypto exchange to take these trading opportunities, which are pretty much all just now beginning. So definitely check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim some massive bonuses available on those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade these moves in the price of any crypto, no matter what direction the price goes, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.